I joined in 2015, and back then WebEngage was a completely different product. And I actually got to know about WebEngage through a marketing program that WebEngage was running on Quora at that time. So people used to read Quora at that time. That's how I discovered WebEngage. I'm a product manager at WebEngage, right? And there are multiple pods within the product team at WebEngage. So I'm mainly responsible for the personalization and the analytics pod at WebEngage. I've been with WebEngage for close to 7 years now, and 3 of those years have been as a part of the product team. And so the product team has a very major overlap with engineering and a lot of other teams within WebEngage as well. So the product management role is very cross-functional in nature, right? So you have to talk to the engineering team, design team. You get a chance to build really cool products with pretty much all the teams at WebEngage, whether it's marketing team, customer success team, the sales team, support team, all of those teams, right? So it's a very cross-functional role, and you get a chance to build cool products. I joined in 2015, and back then WebEngage was a completely different product. And I actually got to know about WebEngage through a marketing program that WebEngage was running on Quora at that time. So people used to read Quora at that time. That's how I discovered WebEngage. And it was my first job straight out of college. And it was a startup at that time. So it was an exciting opportunity that, let's learn something different and let's be a part of that startup culture also. The engineering team has multiple pods, similar to how the product team also works, right? So there's analytics pod, there's personalization pod, there's engagement, mobile, all of these pods, right? And each pod has a pod lead, and within it, we do typically a sprint planning and a quarter planning to finalize what our deliverables are for that quarter. So there are two things that I like the most about working at WebEngage. One is the flexibility that you get to work on the projects that you want and the tasks that you want. So you have a lot of flexibility that within your pod, what do you want to pick up? So you work with your engineering managers and your pod leads to figure out what you want to build, right? And at the same time, we have a pretty solid team that has been established right now. So there's a lot of learning that happens within our peers as well, right? So that's in terms of the flexibility and learning aspect. Second is, in general, as a company culture, there's a lot of autonomy that is given to you to do what you want to do and the way you want to do it, in terms of whether it is the timing of your work, or whether it is what kind of tasks you want to pick up, or what kind of KPIs you want to establish for yourself, right? So a lot of flexibility and autonomy is given in all of these aspects so that you can get your work done. With WebEngage since day one of my professional career, right? And that's why it's been a phenomenal learning personally as well as professionally for me to understand that how do you actually work in a corporate or a professional sort of a setup or a startup setup rather than beginning, right? And also to see the company and the product evolve so much, right? Because when I had joined, the product was completely different. The team was very small, and now we are at a much bigger scale, right? So personally as well as professionally, I've learned a lot from Ankit, Avlesh, and all my peers and managers so far at WebEngage. And I've had learnings in both the customer facing teams as well as the product teams, right? So which is why I've seen that cycle that, okay, how do you first deal with the customers and then how do you build your product? So that's been a very amazing journey for me. It would be phenomenal. All right, so the start of my career, I worked very closely with Keyur, who's our VP of Customer Success right now, right? And pretty much all my learnings in that phase, that how do you actually deal with the customer, how do you explain them the product, how do you give them a solution that they want, right? So all of those learnings have been very good, and Keyur has been an amazing mentor on that front. Then when I moved into the product team, I worked closely with Arpit, who used to be the head of product at that time, right? And since I was very new to the concept of product management, it was again an experience from scratch for me, that how do you actually work in the product team, how do you write specs, how do you work with the engineering team. So both of these people were sort of super experienced in their own fields respectively, and that's why it was a very amazing experience to start my career in that phase with them, right? And of course, at an overall level, Ankit and Avlesh, who are our founders, they have always been approachable, and they've always been there with me since day one, whether it is in terms of figuring out where my career should go or how should I approach a particular problem. All of that has been pretty good so far. This achievement that we have had as a product team so far is how we managed to build a super vast product, right? and still encapsulate it all within WebEngage, right? Because each module of WebEngage is actually a product on its own, could be a product on its own, right? So we have encapsulated that level of detail and depth and perfection in sort of all of these individual modules of our product, and we have evolved into sending 1 billion messages per day from our clients, right? So that's sort of like a North Star metric for us as well, that how are customers actually using our product across all of these modules, and how are they leveraging it in their retention and marketing strategies. One is, as I said, there's a lot of flexibility given to you, that once you're given a task, you are given guidance on how to do it, as well as you are giving the autonomy to do it the way you want it, right? So there's no micromanagement or such things that will sort of bother you from doing your tasks. You are given that liberty, creative liberty as well, to do things in a new way, in a different way, right? And which is the kind of perspective that we want from candidates as well, that they'll bring something new into the picture, because we have been with WebEngage for a while, so now we want a fresh perspective into the product as well. As a part of the engineering team, what I've noticed is that everyone is very approachable, right? Whether they are senior people or anyone new who has joined, since we as a product team work very, very closely with the engineering team. So pretty much everyone that I've interacted with so far in the engineering team throughout all my years, as a culture, they have always been very approachable, no matter what time you reach out to them, or no matter how basic you think a question might be, right? They will not dumb it down for you, or they will not be condescending to you. They will explain it very nicely, and they'll make sure that you've understood.